Okay, this is with no attenuation. And there is not a peep coming out of this pole. As you can see, I'm still sustaining some very significant power line noise here. I did have some success in getting the local power line, the utility company, to come out and work on a noisy pole quite recently, and they've asked me for feedback to tell them if that pole is now clean. And so we just went for a walk and checked it out, and I hear no noise off of that pole, but yet we still have quite a bit of power line noise coming into the station here. Victor Echo 6, Whiskey Golf Mike. Thank you. You are about a 5.5 into Alberta.
Calling the Alberta Public Service yet?
Although I'm fairly certain that this most recent noise source is probably another faulty power pole somewhere in the neighborhood, with having the old pole that was verified as causing a lot of grief repaired, and now I've gone out and measured it and I see no noise there, I feel it's probably good procedure to go back to square one, which for me is to shut off the power for the house to ensure that my own station is clean. So I've gone and switched the station over to battery power. The main breaker for the house is switched off, and as you can see, the noise source is still very much there. So this pretty much eliminates any possibility that the station is generating the noise internally. Okay, so we've checked to make sure that the station isn't the source of our noise, so we're gonna start looking around the neighborhood here, and here are the tools that we're using. So recently I had a tip given to me by a nearby radio operator, VE6 RLZ, suggested that this radio right here will actually receive on AM up into the VHF and UHF ranges. And in fact, it does. So we're going to try this radio here today to do some noise hunting and see how well that works. Typically I use my Yaesu 857, which receives from HF all the way up to UHF in all modes, and it's a very good receiver, but it's kind of heavy and cumbersome to carry around with you while you're waving a Yagi antenna trying to locate noise. So hopefully this one does the job. The next in the line is an attenuator. It's fairly important to have. If you're getting close to a noise source and you got your radio receive maximum sensitivity, you need to attenuate the signal coming in progressively as you get closer to the source so that you can hone in on it. Without this, it's actually pretty tough to hone in once you find a suspected area. So here is our dual band VHF, UHF Yagi antenna that I typically use. And this is the loop antenna that we initially started this process with. And as you can see, it's very high tech. We're using a piece of bamboo, and yeah, so we can rotate the loop and listen. The nice thing about this is it will receive down into the HF range where the noise seems to be the worst. And of course, the null of the loop antenna will allow you to hone in on the noise source fairly well. I was actually able to locate a couple of bad insulators using this. Higher technology up front here, if you'd call it that, the MFJ 5008, it's an ultrasonic receiver. So if you've got a noise source that actually makes energy that couples into the air, acoustic energy in the ultrasonic range, this actually does a very good job of picking it up. All right, so today I'm lucky to have a chauffeur to drive me around. Happens to be a family member who's also an amateur radio operator, VE6 Sierra Foxtrot Charlie. So we're going to be using the old pickup today because, funny, my new truck is in the shop being repaired. And we're going to drive around and see how this Radtel works for noise hunting. So basically all we're doing is just driving in a grid pattern up and down the streets in the vicinity of the radio station. And we're gonna listen to the radio and see if we pick up anything that sounds like the noise we hear at the station. Man, this is about as thrilling as watching paint dry.
What do you figure?
I don't know, not picking up much of anything. Maybe we should go back to the station and verify that the noise is still actually there. Yeah, I'd say that noise is still there. So I guess what we'll do is we'll change antennas and see if we can get a bit more signal into that radio. So yeah, anyway, we weren't picking up anything with this rubber duck antenna. So what we're going to do is we're going to take and change this over. So we've got this adapted over now. We're going to use the attenuator, but of course the attenuator set at 0 to start with so that we can try to pick something up to begin with. As we get closer, we'll probably increase the attenuation so we can hone in on the noise. All right. And there we go. Okay, so I'm not sure if you can hear that, but there is a very faint signal that sounds like the noise we're hearing on the radio in the station coming from this direction. The signal's getting quite a bit stronger here. We had 4 bars there. Well, we're going to keep following the signal. It wants to go this way, but it just depends on how the constructive and destructive interference of the radio waves as they add and subtract from bouncing off of different things, multipath. It can trick you. But generally speaking, as you move, you should be able to notice a pattern that the signal's either getting stronger or weaker and hear it. But this pole here, listen what happens when I move the antenna here. So that's 5 bars there right now. That's 1 bar. 5 bars. Okay, so I think we may have found a suspect pole here. So let's record that pole number. And we'll come back with the 857 radio because this one doesn't seem to work so good on UHF. I don't think it's sensitive enough. So I went up to 440. And normally with the 857, if that was in fact the pole, we would be able to hear it right now. And we can't. So I don't think this radio is sensitive enough to pick it up, or this isn't the pole. The receiver front end of this thing is way more sensitive than that other little handheld radio, and we're pegged. So now I need to reduce the signal coming in using the attenuator, and then we're going to see if we can pinpoint this bad power pole here. So we're going to drop down. Okay, there's 10 dB, and we're still pretty loud. So I'm going to go 20. This is 2 meters. So 146 megahertz is where I got the radio tuned right now. Okay, so I had to knock the attenuation back to 20 dB. 30 was too much. I wasn't getting any reading on the S meter. So if you watch the S meter here, I'm pointing at our suspected bad pole. So you might notice a slight discontinuity from the last scene to this one. The weather looks a lot better. That's because it started raining yesterday more than just a little bit, and our equipment was getting wet, and my iPhone, which is what I use to record these videos, the battery died. So we took that as a good hint that maybe we should just go home. So we're out here the next day, and we're going to hook up and we're going to complete the survey on this pole. So where we left off yesterday, we were looking on 2 meters using the FT857, and I decided that 20 dB attenuation was the right choice because it gave me some movement on the S meter on the radio and enough attenuation that the interference from that pole wasn't just completely obliterating the front end of the radio. Okay, so we're back again the next day at this same pole. Yesterday was making so much noise, and there's not a peep coming out of it. So I guess we just learned something here. It's not to be too quick to judge when you found a pole. This one is an intermittent issue, obviously, and it is an issue. It was making noise yesterday, but there is still strong noise at the radio station. And what we're looking for is not an intermittent noise source. We're looking for something that's strong and consistently there 24 hours a day. So this isn't our main noise source. So we're going to have to keep looking, and we'll return when we have something more to share.